To serve great food is to create memories for your customers.
But it takes more than luck.
It takes consistency, creativity, and the drive to see things through.
And every day, the stakes are high, which means it's time to stand up
from your computer and start getting real. To own your kitchen is to own your bottom line.
This is the real world. And now...
This is the real world. And now...
This is the real world.
And now is the time to foodify your business.
Okay, so here we go. We're back at Altamonte's. Got a big challenge this week, right? I want to welcome you to F Your Business Podcast. So the challenge this week is one people have been asking for. They really wanted to see it. So it's time.
It's time. We teased it last week. We are bringing in the meatballs. I know this is one of Chris's specialties. He's been waiting for this one all season long.
I hate the frozen meatball. No place in the world for it.
And I think, like I said, we'll call it a challenge. I can't see this one being much of a challenge, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be delicious. And we will...
I accept the opportunity, but it's definitely not a challenge. Okay? I'll just get that out there. But we're definitely going to make some great meatballs. We're going to have a great time. We got our shopping list. We're going to head inside. We'll see you inside. All right. We've got an onion that we need. Definitely can't make meatballs without garlic. Out of my house. Got our parsley. I got 3 items off the list. All nice fresh ingredients. Let's see what we get down here. Always get your meat ground fresh from your local butcher. Only way to go. Pecorino Romano. Good to go there. Fresh breadcrumbs. Can't go without them. Alright, takes the last thing on the list. We have everything. We need some eggs. Can't mix meatballs without the eggs. Alright, looks like we got everything we need. We're ready to go. We're going to go check out, and we'll see you in the kitchen. Alright, so we're back in the kitchen. Here we are. Welcome to F Your Business Podcast. We got an amazing challenge today. I've been looking forward to this. I've never been so pumped up. I almost couldn't sleep last night. For 2 reasons. 1, I want to kick the hell out of that frozen meatball. And 2, I knew what we were having for lunch today.
Here we go. And check us out on fyourbusinessmovement.com. We have lots of cool information on there. We have different free courses we offer. You can actually have a call right now with Chef Chris, go through a specific menu item. So a lot going on. So, thanks for listening to the podcast, but jump on our website also and check us out.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's get started. All right. I got a lot of things ready already. Not to slow everybody down, but we're going to get into chopping the onion here. It's about what we need. We need about a half cup. Just want to make sure we get them really fine. Nobody wants to bite into a big, massive onion.
Yeah, we did some of that prep work to save time on it, but really, Chris, all that prep work that you already did to get ready for these meatballs really didn't take a ton of time.
Well, I would say total to do everything I did, 7 to 8 minutes.
Right.
It really wasn't long at all.
Yeah, we used to just chop some stuff to get ahead of it, getting everything mise en place so we're ready to go to make the recipe, but it wasn't a super hard prep intensive item that we're going to take care of.
It just, it's like anything else that you do, you got to love it. You make it a meatball, you got to love it. You got to put the love into it right on. You got to put the love into it. If you're not going to put the love into it, it's just like anything else. It's not going to be good. But enjoy what you do.
Yeah, I think what we've shown a lot of the items that Chris has made fresh over the last few weeks is that even with the prep inside it, it's not a ton of time to do. It's not really that hard of items, and they come out looking great. But really, it's something that if you're following a recipe, you should be able to make pretty easily with you and your team.
Those are garlic cloves. I just sliced them down real thin. Now I'm going to dice them up. Same thing like an onion. You don't want to bite into a huge piece of garlic. So we're going to make sure we get the nice top fine. This is the love part I'm talking about. Anybody could throw a piece of garlic in there. but you got to get it to where it's going to cook down right, because it's a fast cooking process.
Right.
A large onion or garlic is not going to cook down correctly. You're going to be eating raw, product, and this is not meant to be raw.
Yeah, another thing, I think from our standpoint, we still rather see some of the stuff get done in prep. So as we are, executing dishes on the line, they're really line cook friendly, right? Once the meatballs, maybe they're reheating them, maybe they're in a steam well, depending on how often you sell them or how many you're going through.
There's no way in the world you're going to prepare this on the line during service. They definitely need to be prepared ahead of time.
But I think adding more items like that to your menu is what we've tried to focus on over these last few weeks. Is do some work in the prep area, so when it gets to the line, we know that we're maybe some staff with less experience has been
right. Well, once it gets to the line, and this is at any stage of the restaurants I worked in. Once it gets to the line, that's where you really don't want to be labor intensive.
Right.
That's let's burn burn in here. We're going to burn and get it out. We're not going to worry about prepping at that time. Everything's got to be ready for you, ready to go. And this is another item. You got to have it done early in the day, and it could go. And this is an item you could do fresh every day, because it is that easy. You don't need to make it, Monday and hope it lasts you all week. No, make it set a half hour a day aside to make meatballs.
Right.
And you have fresh meatballs every day. You advertise that. People will know the difference when they come in. All right, the next step. We got everything cut, everything ready. I like to take a bowl and put all my ingredients in the bowl, mix them in the bowl, then add it to the meat.
Okay.
Okay? Because then once we add it to the meat, it's already mixed and we don't have to overwork the meat. All right? Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so
we're going to start with, go parsley first, half cup.
Yeah, let's go with the parsley. And then we got grated cheese.
About one cup of grated cheese.
We got it. 4 cloves of garlic chopped fine.
Okay.
Getting really chopped up. Got breadcrumb here.
Yeah, about 1 cup of breadcrumbs.
1 cup of breadcrumb. And we've got a little salt and pepper.
Yeah, so about 1 teaspoon salt, pepper.
I got the onion. Everything in
half minced onions.
Right. I just like to get this all mixed together. So mix it in this bowl so you don't over mix the meat. We don't want to over mix the meat. We want that mix process to be very simple. See how it's all coming together? That's going to save us from really beating up the meat. We don't want to ruin the ground meat.
That's good. There's a nice color in there. Already looks nice and fresh. Smells good.
Yeah, this is what I talk about when I say you got to put the love in the food. You can throw this all in a bowl, mix it up, throw it, right? But it's not the right way to do it. You're going to take the time to do it. Let's do it right. There you go. So this looks ready. Everything's mixed real good. Like Scott said, we see good colors. Does smell great.
Yeah.
All right, you want to grab the meat for us?
Yeah.
All right, our fresh ground meat from Altamonte's, ground fresh right in front of us.
So how do you order it, Chris? When you order that, how would someone know what to order or what to ask for?
So what we got there is 1 pound of beef and 1 pound of pork. And I asked them to grind it together. This way I don't have to overwork it.
Okay.
Trying to get all the pork and beef mixed together.
So let's just say you got it from your supplier and you didn't go to the butcher and get it. You would get them separate and you would just mix them together. Then?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just beef and pork. The real traditional is beef, pork, and veal.
Okay.
So I'll, there's all kinds of different meatballs. I'll use that at times, but with this, it's more traditional for me. I just use beef and pork. It comes nice. You look at the color of that. It looks great.
Now, when you use different ingredients, I assume there's different kinds of meatballs, different items that you made.
Well, there's all different kinds of meatballs, right? We could go outside the Italian heritage, right? Everybody's got a meatball, right? Meatball's great. Who don't like a Swedish meatball? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm they come out the little toothpick. I follow that guy around when we're at parties. But, yeah, so this is one version. And this is a very, traditional. One of my favorite, which most people don't know about unless you really are Italian. My nonna and my nonno used to make it all the time. Actually put the red wine in here. A lot of the same ingredients, but put the red wine in and you mix it. And then you finish it in the gravy. But you don't put it over macaroni.
Okay.
It goes over a big, big tray of polenta. You know, there'd be a lot of us, so it'd be like 80 meatballs on there with a big tray of polenta, and that was dinner. And that was the best meal. But that's how many different things you could do with this. I have a meatball recipe that will fit anybody's menu, anybody's style of restaurant. All right, so let's get this all mixed. Let's get this in. Get that in there. Over here. All right, so I'm going to get this mixed around a little bit. Now we're going to crack 2 eggs in it.
All right, Chris.
That's
we're rocking out the meatball recipe. Where do you think they're from? Where do you think the meatball originated from?
Well, I'm going to say Italy only because I'm Italian, and I don't know where else it could come from at that point.
Well, it's a good guess.
Well, before we get there, here I have 1 roll diced. All I did with this is I sprinkle a little water on it. It's day-old bread, 2-day-old bread, 3-day-old bread, whatever you have. Sprinkle a little water just to bring it back a little bit, and now that goes in.
All right, so another thing they cross-utilize, using some old bread either for croutons or putting meatballs.
And, you know, listen, what this is doing is you use 2 pounds of meat here. It's like 6 pounds of meat.
You get a lot more now.
And it makes a good, you get a nice bite of the bread in there. Just makes it so good. So, yeah. All right, well, go ahead. Let's see if I'm right.
So, hey, I think there's a lot of arguments whether it comes from Italy or, you know, whether it started, you know, kind of America after the
I wouldn't argue it. I would just say, you know, I think it did because that's all I know.
Well, here's the thing. Both are incorrect.
Okay.
Actually dates all the way back to Rome. And basically in Persia, they were, you know, using leftover ground lamb.
Okay.
And they would make that into meatballs. But not even like kind of this size. They would make them really big balls of meat, like orange size or above. And they would kind of put some seasoned lamb meat in there. They would use like an egg or a saffron to coat it and cook them. And that was really how, you know. And
where was this from?
That was in Rome, ancient Rome. And that's in like 1st century cookbooks. Oh, so that's how far
wouldn't that be Italy?
Way back, way back. Persia,
okay.
Depending on where, you know, before the Roman Empire split up
before
like this. But then, you know, then really, like you said, as Italian immigrants kind of came to the United States, they would use these sort of meatballs as any sort of meat they could make it in.
Right.
Any sort of leftover meat, and make it into meatballs because it was very easy to cook, fast to cook.
Right.
Easy to
Not hard. You know, listen, there's a lot of things that are in America that's Italian. That's not necessarily in Italy. Right. You can't go to Italy and get a chicken parm. You know that?
I didn't.
There's no chicken parm in Italy. There's no parm in Italy. The parm is Americanized.
Wow.
That's an Italian-American thing. Yeah. I'm glad they came up with it. I can live without my chicken parm. All right, so we got this all mixed. I'm going to wash my hands, and then we'll show you how we roll them out. All right, so now we're going to roll out the meatballs. Now, here, this is just as important as mixing the meatball. Now, when you're going to roll it out, you can't overwork it. Okay, we don't want to make the meat tough. So I like to use an ice cream scoop. It's a 10 size. Take it like this. I just give it a little, very gently, get it formed like a ball, and it goes on the tray. That's it. Same thing again. Take a little bit, enough for the size of the scoop. Release it. Get it together. Give it a little roll. Don't over-roll. Don't overwork it. That's it. Just like that.
Nice. That'll allow you, as you're pricing out recipe cards and doing your
This
items,
is going to keep you.
You're going to know how many ounces you have in this, and it's going to allow you to, as you figure out your portions, because maybe a portion for a kid's menu goes different than a portion for an adult menu.
Right. But you want them to be, the meatballs to be consistent for more than one reason, right? When they're cooking, if they're the same size, they cook the same time. If you make them one this big, one this big, one this small, the small one's going to burn first. So we want to make sure that they're all the same size, and this is portion control as well. So it really works in multiple ways for you. So my question for you, because you always got the questions. This time it's my turn. All right. What's your favorite meatball?
I'm hoping it's going to be the one I'm about to eat in a little while.
It's going to be. But
I actually like the sweet and sour meatball. I like the little,
sweet sour,
a little flavor to it. I do enjoy that. You know, you go over, rice or something like that over a pasta that you're probably going to yell at me for saying.
Listen, you eat whatever you want. It's your house. Do what you want. What do I tell you?
As long as it's not the frozen bag of meatballs.
As long as it's not frozen, right.
In there, yeah. I'm all right.
So mine, other than anything, Italian, because that's what I grew up on. Man, I told you earlier, I love a Swedish meatball. Follow that guy around every party, like, be my best friend.
I can see that. I can see that.
Be my best friend. Come here, buddy. As soon as you come out with that tray, come over here. This is it. I mean, this is how easy it is. Like, you can prep this in your kitchen, total time, half hour, and you have fresh meatballs on your menu. And I won't be afraid to make them every day. If you set a half hour of time out to make meatballs a day, fresh meatballs that you could tell your guests, hey, got fresh meatballs every day, they're really going to go a long way. And there's so much you could do with them. This meatball is not just an entree. You could start at breakfast with this. If you're a breakfast place, a meatball omelet, it's nothing better. Breakfast champions.
Now, would you recommend for different items, different size meatballs, or would you say different amounts of them? Like, if you have a kid's item versus like an entree.
You don't want to make meatball too big because then you really can't get it cooked through, right? You don't want to make it too small because it's going to dry out. So this is the size I would make meatball for anybody.
Okay.
But like if you're doing a kid's menu and they're getting some kind of macaroni and meatball, you're going to give them two. I mean, it's no different than what an adult would get.
Right.
You know, if you don't need it, take it home. Right? You can't give less. But it's for all three meals. Breakfast, make a nice omelet. Lunch, make multiple sandwiches. I can't count on how many sandwiches you can make out of a meatball.
Well, I've seen a lot of different, like, like I said, talk about like, a meatball parm sandwich has become really popular. That's kind of all
really
around.
popular. They've been popular for years.
That's easy.
You know, the fried meatball with a bunch of different toppings, almost like the chicken cutlet. Everything, you put the same stuff on the meatball that you do in the chicken cutlet. That's big, the meatball grinder. So for lunch, it could really help build a menu. And again, with one item, you're doing multiple uses of things in your restaurant to move out.
Right? Some appetizers, right? I feel like I see it now. Like,
well, as an appetizer, it's definitely it's big on everybody's menu now because they do like 3 meatballs with the gravy and then the ragout right on top. Right. That's a great appetizer. Yeah. And then, for dinner, obviously, you're going into the, any kind of macaroni, anything you want. You can do a meatball parm. Listen, I go to one restaurant, I get 3 meatballs with gravy and cheese over it, meatball parm.
They actually have it, or you just create that your own on their menu?
Well, it's on the menu now.
all right.
It's on the menu now. But that's what I would always get. I would get like a side of macaroni or something with it. I didn't always want, a big dish of macaroni, just a little side. So give me 3 meatballs. Put some cheese, some gravy. That's a party.
Hey, as we talk about food costs, we can add items like this that are going to be really food cost friendly and then add them on to add-ons to any item on your menu. It's just another way to, increase your check average and do it with bringing in an item that's,
Listen, most Italian restaurants have, just spaghetti, ziti, lasagna, whatever it is, but then there's the side, meatball sausage, which is a nice add-on. You're going to give them 2 meatballs like $7. Right. Which costs you much less than that to make them.
Nice. So as we're rounding out, portion on, what are we going to do next then? After
so here we're going to do right. Well, once I get this all done, obviously, I'm going to wash my hands, get ready for the next station, which is the frying station. Okay. We got to fry them now because they're not going into the gravy today. They're just fried meatballs. Just so I ensure that they're cooked all the way through. Once I'm done frying them, I'm going to stick them in the oven on 350 for about 10 minutes, just to make sure it gets all the way through the center. When you're cooking them in the gravy, you don't want to do that because you want the meatball to absorb that gravy, right? And take that flavor on as well as the flavor that's already built in the hair. So that's important. But because, again, we're not going into the gravy, we're just going to make fried meatballs because that's what the fraud is.
That's what we're up against?
Yeah. So we don't want to overdo it and outdo them, so top restaurant brand against us. If we put gravy on it, it'd be over. Right. So we're going to go a mano, head to head.
We'll save that for another challenge. I feel like your gravy could be its own challenge on itself.
That's going to be. We're going to go against the jar stuff or even what the restaurant stores selling. Okay. And I'll do that one in my sleep just because, I can. All right. I'm going to wash up and then we'll be back to Friday. All right. So we got all the meatballs rolled. They're ready to go. Look at all the color. Why would you ever buy a packaged meatball again? It's so easy to do. Don't do that. Don't buy packaged meatballs. Make them. Takes you total half hour from start to finish to put such a great product on your menu. All right. We're going to start frying them now. So there we go. Let's get over here. We got our oil up to 350. Again, if you have a fryer, use it. You don't have to use cast iron. Cast iron worked in Nona's kitchen. It's going to work here. But if we had a fryer, we would use it. But this holds temperature really well. So we don't have any problems. You don't want to overcrowd the pan because you want to lower the oil too much. So you want to give them with a little spin so they don't stick. Give them the spin. They don't stick.
I like the little spin, Chris. I'm not gonna lie. I like that. I like that spin.
Practice makes perfect, buddy. Watch this one.
A little flare, like a little flare to it.
Look at that. Look at that frying. And we got this right around 350. It's a little bit over. I'm going to lower this a little bit. So there you go. So this is going to cook 2-3 minutes aside. We're going to flip them. Once I get them all done and trays, I'll put them in the oven for about 10 minutes. Just to make sure that they're all the way cooked through since they're not going into the gravy. All right. So what do you got for us, Scott? What else you got? Is that all you know about a meatball? That's it?
We got them. I'm just waiting now to eat. So what are we going to have? So in the taste test, we'll obviously go, you know, meatball versus meatball. But
yes.
You know, what else? What are we going to have for lunch with meatball? You told us all these different ways we could cook, cook it up.
Yeah, so I didn't go crazy like I did with the chicken cutlets.
Okay, all right.
I mean, simply because, it's time consuming and we didn't really have that kind of time today. So we're just going to go simple with long hots and a little provolone.
All right.
All right, keep it real simple, real traditional. But you could do everything we did on that chicken cutlet, from the broccoli olive to the spinach to whatever we put on it, the Parmesan, you could do with this. Here, we still hover around 350. We're going to turn them in a minute. I'll show you. Look at that golden brown.
That's a nice looking meatball right there. It's going to hold that flavor really nice.
Yeah. Just let me give it another minute before I give it the flip.
And Chris, like normal, we'll put the recipe up on the website. So come to the website, check it out. Chris, you're going to give the secret recipe away, or are you going to?
I'm going to give it to him.
All right, he's going to give the secret recipe away. So
I'm a nice guy. I don't need to hold it for myself. I want to make sure everybody can enjoy these meatballs. I like when people enjoy food. That's what it's all about. Look at the color on these. Beautiful. Golden brown. So I'm going to let the other side go for about 2 or 3 minutes. We'll trade them up, and we'll get started with the next batch. Come check out this second batch. Look at this. Does it get any better? Look. Look. You don't want that on your menu or on your plate? Come on. You'll drive people crazy in your neighborhood with these on your menu. You'll have lines outside. Let's go. Let's get profitable today. Let's stop messing around. I'm showing you how easy it is. Like Scott said, go on our website. Check us out. Watch our old podcast. Learn more about us. Scott, I got a question for you, Scott.
yeah, absolutely.
I remember last week you came out of the back room with all the utensils and tools to cook. What happened this week?
We were doing meatballs this week.
That wasn't
I wasn't going to interfere with meatballs. That was just like
you
your
can't chop an onion?
Yeah, I did all the prep. Remember before you got here?
Oh,
I was the one prepping all that up.
Oh, you did. You still got all 10 fingers? They still all there? I mean, my God. Last week it comes ready when we're doing beverages. This week we got nothing. I don't know. I think we need a new prep cook. Anybody out there want a prep job? There we go. Just about ready. I'm going to take these out. These are going to be so good. I wish you could stay and have lunch with us.
Or we'll let them know how it tastes. We'll make sure that.
Fried meatballs, just the way they're supposed to look. All right, let me get another batch in. I always higher it a little bit when I put a new batch in because they're cold. They're going to knock down the temperature. Right, Scott? Watch this 2 hands.
Look at that. That's a product efficiency right there.
2 hands with the spin. Look at that. Down to the last one. There we go.
Looking good.
There we go. Another couple minutes. That's it. They'll be done. I think we're rolling along, making good time here. All right, here's the end of them. They're coming out. The end of our meatballs. We're going to stick them in the oven, 350 for 10-15 minutes. Just make sure that they get cooked all the way through. After that, it's lunchtime. Lunchtime, and we got to go have our. What do you got an apron now?
Yeah, you're bringing the closer to put everything in the oven.
Oh, no, you want to help now? Here, I'll get the door.
I figured this would be the easy part, right?
Here, I'll get the door. Go ahead.
Look at that.
You almost put it on the wrong rack. There was no rack there, and you almost dropped it.
Whew.
I see that.
Oh.
All right, so that's it. The meatballs are ready. We're going to clean up, and we're going to get ready for the challenge. You know,
I'll start microwaving the frozen ones.
You got to thaw them out too, maybe. I don't know. But listen, still tune in to see the end because we're going to win. But we want to talk to you more.
All right, so results are in, as we see. Chris, what do we have this week?
Well, listen. As predicted, a runaway. Okay, 12-0. Anyone that would have picked this, I think we would have to disown and not talk to anymore.
Well, we brought him on here for us to try it
right.
on
let's come take a look at this.
It's amazing.
This is the fresh homemade one.
Yeah.
This is the one that leads the restaurant store. So I think there's a huge difference just in the look. I know there's going to be in taste. Just the size, it's like 3 to 1 in size.
Right.
Scott will get into the cost of it, but this one meatball still costs less than this one meatball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, imagine that. All right, Scott?
Yeah, not even close. So, I mean, we're talking about this meatball about, the one we made, we're saying about 30 cents to make. Again, depending on what you paid for your ingredients, what you're paying for your fresh meat.
Right.
But we said around 30 cents. This one goes up to almost 50 cents a meatball frozen. So again, we figured it probably about 3 times. So we need about $1.50 just to get close to that. Right. And we're gonna taste it out and see how far it is on the taste side. But
and we didn't participate in the taste test. We were going to do it here. So I kind of going to be 15-0 by the end of it.
Yeah.
But
I can't imagine that.
We wanted to end it the other way. We didn't want to influence it by eating it and gagging or anything like that. So I figured we save that for you.
Yes.
All right. We're going to go with the...
We got to go the frozen one first, right?
All right.
You ate the whole thing.
I don't want to cut it up.
Not terrible. A little mushy, I would say.
So, it's the things I talked about. Don't overwork the meat.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very tough. It's been overworked. They add water to these, to make more weight so you can make more meatballs. So it's like a sponge.
Yeah.
But it's not inedible.
For the minute cook time in the microwave, it's actually a little better than I thought it was going to be.
It's not inedible.
Well, and I would say, I think from a flavoring, like you can tell they're trying to have Italian seasoning.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's got a little bit of an aftertaste. Yeah. And again, I think one thing we talked about is, if you're, as a customer, this probably gets hidden under some sort of sauce, right? Like spaghetti sauce or whatever it is, marinara. So, but when you think about like trying to have really good quality products, sure, you could hide this under marinara and get away with it. But does your customer even realize what they're not getting in the fresh?
Right. I mean, if you could just come in again and look at the air pockets here to no air pockets here. It's just being overworked. I'm sure they stick it into a mixer and mixer just goes with all the seasonings. We have air pockets everywhere. You see grains of meat going through it. Where here, it's just solid. Yeah. Right. Again, it definitely went through a mixer. Ours we mixed it here as little as possible. So let's give ours a try because, we haven't tried it yet.
Let's see. It looks amazing.
Oh, yabba dabba do. That's
a meatball. Really good.
Mm.
Wow.
Nona would be proud.
Well, and I think the other thing, like we've talked about in a lot of these, is maybe 5 years ago, the frozen was cheaper, right? Like when frozen first started happening, you could probably get a bag of meatballs for a really cheap price, and it was a no-brainer. It was like, I'm going to save labor, I'm going to get the bag of meatballs, and I'm going to be good to go. But in the last 3 years, with all the supply chain issues, I think the frozen products raised a lot in price, right? Because they have to have their margin. And the quality went down. I bet those were probably better 5 years ago when they first came out than they are now. Because again, if you've had to cut costs, these guys have had to cut costs too. And now all of a sudden you have a really inferior product that you're actually paying more for. Which is why, again, not to be a dead horse, but this is why you can't just do this on software.
Right.
Because if you just did this on software, first of all, you'd never know this because that's a recipe. You'd have to make it. You'd have to play around with it, figure out sizing, plating, all of that. And the second, you might see that it's gone up, but you don't see the drastic difference between replacing the frozen with the fresh product, which is why turn off the computer and come in your kitchen and do this with your team.
Right.
Maybe someone on your team has a great, meatball recipe if you're not going to use Chris's, although you should use Chris's.
Yes.
But it's a great experiment to do because I think by doing it and seeing it, it's a no-brainer.
Right. So we're going to put this recipe up, but I have so many recipes. I talked about one earlier from my Nona and Nono about the red wine meatball. That is just amazing. But I have a meatball recipe. It doesn't matter what type of restaurant you're running. I have one that will fit that restaurant. Yeah. All you got to do is reach out and let us know.
We get the wow factor here. I mean, when you eat that, it's like, wow, that's a really meatball. You're going to go to a restaurant, like, I would go back for that meatball.
100%. And
I think that's why I want to look at this. Yeah, is this one okay to have in your freezer at home so when your kids are before practice? Chris is going to say no. When your kids, we might be like, I have 4 minutes to make dinner. These take a minute. Okay. But, right, but to charge what we need to charge at a restaurant for a really great dish, it just doesn't, it's not going to get you there. Where this, wow, I would go back. Although I had with pasta today, wow, but I did see a meatball parm on the menu. I'm going to go back for lunch next week. That's what we're looking for from restaurants.
And we talked about it earlier. A meatball is in every phase of your menu. It's a breakfast, it's an appetizer, it's a lunch, and it's a dinner, right? Do a meatball omelet. Out of this world. One of my favorite, right? We go to the appetizer. We do 3 meatballs in the gravy with the ricotta on top. A little fresh basil. There's an appetizer. It's going to be 10 times what you're paying is what you want to sell it for.
Yeah.
Then you go to lunch. Just like the chicken cutlet sandwich, everything we did with that, you do it with the meatball. Yeah. So easy, right? And then you go to dinner. Obviously, it's going to be with any pasta dish, but you could do a meatball parm dinner, right? With side of veggies or pasta. Some people are, they don't eat the carbs. Yeah. So they might want to go, just with the meatball, not the bread or the macaroni. Right. It's endless what you could do with it. And it's profitable. And that's what we're here every week trying to tell people, let's add profitable food to your menu. This is another great idea. And if you don't know how, or if you're a little skeptical of doing it, like I'm scared, I don't know how to do it, I never did it, pick up the phone, get to your computer, emails, we'll be there. Yeah. We'll help you out.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like I said, I think this just shows, again, that you would not have found this by just a software or AI or whatever. Like, this is all about trying and experimenting and really playing around with what your customers want. But I agree with you. I mean, I think, whether it's catering, whether it's on your menu, I mean, your customers are going to leave and they're going to be talking about it.
Right. Absolutely.
All right, Chris, Scott, thanks for another great show.
It's our pleasure.
Great.